Hello, my dear students. This is the first chapter of 12th class accountancy syllabus, which I am going to discuss with you. And the first chapter relates to partnership accounts. You know, the partners get together, join hands, and do business in order to earn profits. That is the objective of the business. They do business for nothing else, just to earn profit. And they work for 365 days, the year around, very hard work. And after the year is over, they look back how they have done it. Have they done it good? Have they performed nicely? If they had performed nicely, if they had done good business, that means they have earned a profit. How would they come to know whether they have earned a profit or have suffered a loss? For this purpose, they prepare what is called a profit and loss account. They may ask their accountant to prepare a profit and loss account, and this profit and loss account will give them what is called net profit. And this profit, they sit together at the end of the year to distribute it between or among themselves. This is what we are going to study. And this is the most important thing, because this is something for which they work, and they must share it very judiciously. Nobody should afterwards say that some injustice has been done to one partner or the other. It should be judiciously done. That is what is the objective. Therefore, for this purpose, when they sit to distribute profits, it goes without saying, because when the partners get together, they prepare what is called a partnership deed. And in the partnership deed, you know, they write what is the ratio in which they have to share the profits. These profits, this amount of net profit, will be shared by the partners in this ratio, which is there in the partnership deed. And by chance, if it is not there in the partnership deed, then of course it will be shared equally. That is how the Partnership Act 1932 lays down, that if the partners have not included the profit sharing ratio in their partnership agreement, then they will share profits equally. So it is either equally or whatever has been mentioned in the partnership deed, in that ratio, these profits will be shared. Now, therefore, look here, we are studying fundamentals. In this fundamentals, we have this distribution of profit. And while distribution of the profits, we will study the treatment of these four items. These four items, they are very important for the partners to take into account while distributing the profits. They are interest on capital. Second is interest on drawings. Third is interest on loan given by the partner to the firm. And fourth is any salary or any commission payable to the partner. I will take each one of them one by one. So therefore, first of all, I take interest on capital. Interest on capital, the treatment of interest on capital. Now, look here, when we distribute profits, the accountant prepares the profit and loss account. Accountant prepares what is called profit and loss account. Profit and loss account, you see, gives the figure of net profit, as I told you right now, that this account gives a figure of net profit. This net profit, whatever it comes to, it is to be distributed among the partners. Supposing this net profit is 15,000. This is the net profit as shown by profit and loss account. When they sit to distribute this, they will prepare another account which is called profit and loss appropriation account. Appropriation means distribution. Appropriation account, you may call this profit and loss distribution account also. Any name can be given, it makes no difference, but generally people call it P&L appropriation account, and this account starts with by net profit. By net profit, this one. This net profit, it comes here and then it is distributed to the partners. When we distribute, we write here to A, B and C. Whatever the amount given to them will be mentioned here. Supposing the ratio is equal, so each one will get 5,000, 5,000 and 5,000. So, my dear students, this is how the profit will be distributed. So the firm prepares what is called profit and loss account. Profit and loss account which is prepared by the accountant. The accountant prepares this and puts it before the partners and tells them, partners, the business has earned 15,000 rupees as profit. Partners then ask him to prepare profit and loss appropriation. Then he prepares this profit distribution for profit distribution, profit and loss appropriation account, and he puts the amount here and distributes it among the partners. This is straightaway. If there is no adjustments of interest on capital, if there is no adjustment on interest on drawings, if there is no adjustment for interest on loan, and there is no special salary or commission to be paid, then this is what is to be done. It is so simple. If it is equal, divide equally. If it is in some other ratio, say 3:1. If it is in 3:1, divide it in 3:1. If it is 5:2, divide it in 5:2. Whatever the ratio, it is to be divided. This is how profit is shared. So this is the simplest form presented before you when there is no adjustment. But we are going to consider interest on it. Let us say that this profit is to be distributed. Fine, that it be distributed. But before giving it to the partners, each partner is to be given interest on the capital contributed by them. Now, why do they ask for interest on capital? The partners, A, B, C, D, the partners are the owners of the business. And you know, business has an independent entity. You have studied in 11th class entity concept. Business is independent from the owners. So imagine that partners and the business are talking to each other. Partners tell business, Mr. Business, look here. This is our money, that capital we have given to you. Before we gave it to you, this money was lying in our bank and the bank was giving us interest. And we were not doing anything. We were just sitting at home and bank was giving us interest. And the business tells them, look here partners, when you have given me capital, I'll give you profit. And the partners say, no, Mr. Business, profit will come only when we work. Interest was coming to us without any work. So therefore, please pay us interest. Business says, okay, I'll pay you interest. So first, out of this profit, before it is distributed, interest will be paid to the partners. Partners will first get interest, whatever amount of interest on their capitals, they will first get interest So we will write here to interest on capitals A, B, and C. The rate of interest is always given. The rate of interest is always given in the agreement, that they will get interest at the rate of 5%, 2%, 3%. It is given in there. Mind it. If it is not given in the agreement, no interest will be paid. This is what the Partnership Act 1932 says, that in case the partners do not mention the rate of interest in the agreement, then partners are not entitled to any interest. So therefore, for you, my dear students, your question is the agreement. If it is given in the question that interest on capital is going to be 2%, 3%, 4%, give the partners this interest. And this interest will reduce the profit. It is a loss to the business and it is a gain to the partners. What did I say? It is a loss to the business. It will reduce the profit of the business and it is a gain to the partners. Therefore, the interest on capital, it will be debited to P&L appropriation account, number one, and number two, be credited to partners. It will be debited to P&L appropriation account and credited to partners. Here it is, P&L appropriation account, it is debited here. Let me say the interest on capital comes to 1,000 each. 1,000 each and 1,000 each. Very good. This is the interest on capital. Now what is left then? Amount left is 12,000. Amount left is 12,000. So this 12,000 will then be shared by all the partners equally divided by 3. It means 4,000, 4,000, 4,000 and 4,000. So each one gets 4,000 as profit, 4,000 as profit, 4,000 as profit, and 1,000 as interest, 1,000 as interest, and 1,000 as interest. Now you may ask one thing, what difference did it make to the partners? Without interest, they got 5,000 each. 15,000 profit, 15,000 profit. When it was distributed, each one got 5,000. And now when they are given interest, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Now they get 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. Because as I told you, this interest of 3,000 will reduce this profit. Because it is a loss for the business. So when it reduces the profit becomes 12,000 and this will be distributed. So what difference does it make? It makes no difference. Still, they will first get it as interest and then they will get it. There is a reason behind this. This was the case when the profit sharing ratio is equal. Profit sharing ratio is equal and their capitals are also equal. Because if their capitals are, say, 20,000, if their capitals are 20,000 each, say their capitals are 20,000 A. A's capital is 20,000, B's capital is 20,000, and C's capital is 20,000. See, interesting thing. And the rate of interest is 5% per annum. 5% on this, it is A 1,000, B 1,000, C 1,000. So when the capitals are equal and rate is 5%, each one gets 1,000. It makes no difference in this case. In this case, it makes no difference. But if their capitals are not equal, if the capitals are different. So suppose their capitals are, in this case, 30,000, and here it is 1,000. If the capitals are like this, now look here, A has contributed 30,000, B has contributed 20,000, and C has contributed 10,000. And rate of interest is 5%. This fellow gets how much interest? 1,500. This fellow gets interest 1,000. And this fellow gets interest of only 5,000. Right? Now look here, if I pay interest like this, and here this is 1,500, and this is 1,000, and this is only 500, now you will see this is 1,500, 1,500, this figure is 1,000. Okay, and they share in the same ratio, equal. They are sharing in the same ratio. Now look what A gets. A gets 4,000 as profit and 1,500 as interest. So in total he gets 5,500. B, 4,000 plus 1,000, he gets 5,000. And C, 4,000 plus 500, that is 4,500. Now look here, A gets highest figure, A gets 5,500, and C gets the lowest figure, 4,500. This is why interest is stressed upon by the partners. This is why they say we will first get our interest and thereafter the profit will be distributed, because the partner who has contributed more capital, that partner stands to gain in the distribution of profit. You can see here for yourself. I repeat, look here, 15,000 profit, 15,000 profit, earlier divided, it went as 555. Okay? Now, then the case was, each one partner had 20,000, 20,000, 20,000, and interest was 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. And they got 4,000, 4,000. Here also they get 5,000 each, 4,000 plus 1,000, 4,000 plus 1,000, and 4,000 plus 1,000. No difference. That means when their capitals are equal and ratio is also equal, when capitals are equal and ratio is also equal, then there is no difference to the partners whether they get interest or do not get interest. But if the capitals are unequal and ratio is equal, or capitals are equal and ratio is unequal, both are not the same. Please remember, I repeat, if capitals are not unequal, but ratio is equal, capitals unequal, ratio is equal. Look here, capital unequal, 30, 20, 10, interest 15, 1, 5. Earlier capitals were equal, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Now look the difference. 1,500 A gets, 1,000 B gets, 500 C gets. Remaining profit 12,000 goes equally because ratio is equal. So what does A get in total? 4 plus 1,500. 1,500. B gets 4 plus 1, 5,000. C gets 4 plus 500, 4,500. So A stands to gain. A will insist. A कहेगा कि भाई look here my dear partners, देखो इधर कि मेरा तो पहले interest मुझे दो, because my capital is more than you. So I will first get my interest, thereafter so others will also have to follow like this, because it has to be judiciously done. Okay, so this is how the interest on capital is dealt with. It is debited to profit and loss account, profit and loss appropriation account, and it is at the same time credited to the partners' capital accounts, this very amount. In case it is 1,500, 1,500 will go to A's capital, 1,000 will go to B's capital, and 500 will go to C's capital. This is how this is done. And the next thing, regarding interest on capital is how to calculate this, how the amount is to be calculated. I am taking this situation where their capitals are 30,000, 20,000, 10,000. This is the question now. And interest is 5,000. Interest is 5%. 5% means 1,500, 1,000 and 500. Now, if the profit is 15,000, and how much is the total interest? Total interest is 3,000. That means profit is more than the interest. There are three situations, my dear students. Three situations. There are three situations to be considered. Number one, profit is more than total interest. And this is this case. Profit is more than total interest. Very good. When profit is more than total interest, this is how it is to be done. Second is, when profit is insufficient, profit is insufficient, यानी प्रॉफिट ज्यादा नहीं है. I take the situation, यहाँ कितना प्रॉफिट था? 15,000. चलिए इसको छोड़कर let's say profit is 2,100. Now profit is 2,100. Interest is how much? Interest is 3,000. 1,500. 1,500. Interest is 3,000. How can you pay interest of 3,000 out of 2,100? You cannot. This is the second situation. And what is to be done? Please remember, if profits are insufficient, then you will not pay this interest. You will pay only 2,100, just equal to the profit which is available. Pay interest of 2,100 only. How shall I write it here? I will write 2,100 here, and I will pay interest. This is my profit, dear students. So this is my profit, and I want to pay interest. I will pay interest, not 30,000. It cannot be more than 21. I will pay 21. How will I pay? This 21 will be paid in this ratio, capital ratio, and the capital ratio is 1, 2, 3. Capital ratio is 3, 2, 1. That means it is 3 by 6, 2 by 6, and 1 by 6. 3 by 6, 2 by 6, and 1 by 6. Interest will be paid out of this in the ratio of 3 to 1. So 1 by 6 will be 350. 2 by 6 will be 700. And 3 by 6 will be 1050. The total is how much? 2,100. And this is another thing that you remember, that if the profit is insufficient, you have to distribute the entire available profit. The entire available profit, which is less than total interest, in the ratio of the capitals of the partners. And the third situation is when there is loss. If there is a loss, that means there is no profit, or instead of profit there is loss. This is profit, not 1500, not 2100, but there is net loss. Net loss comes on this side, you know. There is a net loss. How much? Say 1200 rupees net loss. And there is a rule, please remember, when there is loss, no interest will be paid. No interest will be paid to the partners. So, therefore, three situations are very clear. If there are enough profits, pay interest to the partners at the agreed rate on their capitals. And interest is always paid on the opening capital of the firm. Pay interest to the capitals. And if the profits are not sufficient to pay the interest, then whatever are the available profits, they will go to the partners as interest on their capitals in the ratio of their capitals. And third is, when there is a loss, no interest will be paid. This is the case, my dear students, when interest on capital is to be treated as an appropriation of profit. Appropriation means distribution of profit. If it is given in the question, if the partners have decided that interest is going to be a charge against the profits, interest is going to be a business expense, it is a charge against the profits, then, my dear students, you have to think it a little differently. A charge means it is a business expense. A charge means it will come in profit and loss account, not in here. It will come here. If it is a charge against profits, it will be a part of profit and loss account, just like salaries, just like stationery, just like wages or other expenses. Interest will come here and not here, because it is a business expense. So when they decide, if nothing is given, remember, if nothing is given in the question, it is a better option to treat it as appropriation. फिर appropriation की तरह करो उसको. यही है rule कि अगर question में given है, इसका मतलब उनकी agreement में लिखा हुआ है. Partners have agreed कि हमें profit, हमें interest on capital लेना है, but कैसे लेना है? Not as appropriation of profit, but as a charge against profits. Therefore, the treatment will be different. Now, how to treat it when interest is a charge on profits? Now, look here. I want to explain what effect the charge has on profits. Sometimes the partners stand to gain individually. They stand to gain in case there is a mention in the question that interest to be paid to the partners is to be a charge on the profits. In this case, what is to be done? Interest on capital, interest on capital as a charge on profits. Debited, it is debited to profit and loss account. It is debited to profit and loss account. And second, it is paid to the partners credited to cash. Cash credit कर दो means paid. Pay कर दिया. Or yet to be paid, interest due. या तो cash pay कर दो, it will be to cash, और नहीं pay किया तो it will be interest due. This is how it is to be treated. Do not transfer it to the capital accounts. Do not I repeat, do not transfer it to the capital accounts. It is a charge. Charge is not to be transferred to the capital accounts. If it is appropriation, it goes to the capital account, no problem, because it is a business expense. Therefore, it will be credited to cash or interest due. This is how it is to be treated. Now, how about those three things? Profit is enough, profits are insufficient, and there are no profit, there is a loss. यहाँ कैसे करना है इनको? यहाँ की ट्रीटमेंट भी अलग हो गई. खर्चा तो हमें करना ही है. प्रॉफिट है तो भी करना है, कम प्रॉफिट है तो भी करना है, और भैया लॉस है तो भी करना है. ये है डिफरेंस. अगर आपके पास प्रॉफिट काफी है, 15,000 है, तो ठीक है, इंटरेस्ट पे कर दो, राइट. और अगर आपके पास प्रॉफिट कम है तो भी इंटरेस्ट पे कर दो. प्रॉफिट है आपके पास 2,000 का या 2,100 का, प्रॉफिट है 2,100 का, ठीक है, और इंटरेस्ट कितना है? 3,000 का, तो भैया ये तो लॉस हो गया 900 का, ठीक है. ईच पार्टनर विल सफर ए लॉस ऑफ 300 रुपीज. और हमारे पास पहले से ही लॉस है. एप्रोप्रिएशन में होता है, अगर लॉस है कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं दिया जाएगा, लेकिन जब चार्ज है तो पहले वाला लॉस और बढ़ जाएगा. लुक हियर, कैसे करना है इसको. फर्स्ट, सफिशिएंट प्रॉफिट. प्रॉफिट सफिशिएंट है, इफ प्रॉफिट इज सफिशिएंट, हमारे पास ये है P&L अकाउंट. ये P&L अकाउंट में जाएगा. हमारे पास प्रॉफिट कितना है? 15,000 का, एज अर्लियर. एंड इधर इंटरेस्ट ऑन कैपिटल ये है 1,500, 1,000 and 500. ये है इंटरेस्ट ऑन देयर कैपिटल्स. सो 3,000 चला गया, बाकी बच गया 12,000. ये 12,000 ए, बी और सी को 4,000 चला गया. ठीक है, बिल्कुल ठीक हो गया काम. ऐसे ही हमने किया था. ये देखो, हमारे पास ये प्रॉफिट बांट दिया. और भी इसको ज्यादा अच्छी तरह करने हैं तो ये नेट प्रॉफिट यहां से आप, अब इसको आप कहां ले जाइए? इसको ले जाओ P&L अप्रोप्रिएशन अकाउंट में. टू P&L ये बेटर है. प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अप्रोप्रिएशन अकाउंट. ये 12,000 कहां ले जाओ? प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अप्रोप्रिएशन अकाउंट. ये प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अप्रोप्रिएशन अकाउंट. यहां कितना आ जाएगा? ये नेट प्रॉफिट है. ये नेट प्रॉफिट 12,000. तो इसको यहां लाके ए, बी और सी में बांट दो. ये और भी अच्छा है. 4,000, 4,000 और 4,000. वहां बांट दोगे तो भी कोई बात नहीं, लेकिन यहां बांटना ये बेटर है, बिकॉज ये है प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट. इसने आपको दे दिया प्रॉफिट, विच वी कॉल नेट प्रॉफिट. ये है नेट प्रॉफिट, और चला गया ये यहाँ पर P&L अप्रोप्रिएशन अकाउंट में. वहां जाकर ये बट गया. दिस इज द केस व्हेन देयर आर सफिशिएंट प्रॉफिट्स. व्हेन देयर इज सफिशिएंट प्रॉफिट, हमारे पास सफिशिएंट प्रॉफिट जो रहेगा. अगर भाई हमारे पास प्रॉफिट कम है, इफ वी हैव प्रॉफिट ऑफ 2,100, प्रॉफिट ऑफ 2,100, भाई टोटल कितना इंटरेस्ट है? ये तो 3,000 है. हाउ कैन वी पे दिस? वेल, Then we have not net profit. ये तो नेट लॉस का केस बन गया. ये टोटल हो गया 3000, ये टोटल हो गया 3000, और इधर से इंटरेस्ट है, ये बन गया नेट लॉस. ये नेट लॉस कितने का? 900 रुपीज. ये ट्रांसफर टू P&L अप्रोप्रिएशन अकाउंट. ये आ गया इधर, ये P&L अप्रोप्रिएशन अकाउंट, और इसमें ये नेट लॉस यहां पर आ गया. नेट लॉस कितना है? ये 900. रेशियो इज इक्वल, तो ये बाई ए बाई बी चला गया 300, 300 और 300. लुक हियर, इन केस इनसफिशिएंट प्रॉफिट है तो हमारी हालत ये है. ए को कितना इंटरेस्ट मिला? 1500. इसके अकाउंट में चला गया 1500. एट द सेम टाइम इसको लॉस कितना बियर करना पड़ा? 300. इसके पल्ले नेट कितना पड़ा? 1200. 1200 का फायदा हुआ इसे. हियर बी गेट्स 1000, he suffers 3000, so he gets 700. C gets 500, he suffers 300 loss. So इसको तो नेट गेन 200 का हुआ, इसको 700 का हुआ, और इसको 1200 का हुआ. So ये इफेक्ट पड़ेगा उनके कैपिटल अकाउंट्स के ऊपर, because these are 3 credits to interest on capital for A, B and C. ये A का है, और ये B का है, और ये C का है. ये 3 क्रेडिट गए, 15, 10, 1 and 5, और ये 3 डेबिट हुए, लॉस. This is the second case, insufficient profits. Second, insufficient profits. This is insufficient profit. Okay. 3 cases, sufficient profits, insufficient profits. You must have seen, interest has to be paid, whether there are sufficient profits or there are insufficient. Lastly, in case there is a loss, even then we have to pay interest, supposing there is no profit at all. प्रॉफिट है ही नहीं. हमारे पास इधर 6000 का लॉस है. डेबिट साइड में 6000 का लॉस है. देयर इज एग्जिस्टिंग लॉस, नेट लॉस पहले से ही है 6000 का. अगर लॉस है फिर भी इंटरेस्ट देना है. इंटरेस्ट ऑन कैपिटल A, B and C. इसको देना है 1500, इसको देना है 1000, इसको देना है 500. अब देखो इस साइड का टोटल कितना हो गया? इस साइड का टोटल हो गया 9000. 6000 का लॉस, 3000 का जी और हो गया. And then on this side I have this 9000. So there is a net loss of 9000. मेरे पहला लॉस 6000 का था, अब इंटरेस्ट की वजह से ये लॉस हो गया 9000, एंड इट विल गो टू द पार्टनर्स. यहां आ जाएगा नेट लॉस 9000. it will go to the partners at 30,000, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. So this is how it is to be distributed. So the rule becomes clear now that interest on capital may be treated like appropriation of profit. There are three cases: enough profits, pay interest. Insufficient profits, give these insufficient profits as interest in capital ratio. No profits, no interest. Second, if it is given in the question that it is to be treated as a charge against profits, then it is to be treated as a business expense. Then there is no option, my dear students. If it is given in the question, partners have decided, they have written in their agreement that the interest will be treated as a business expense. So therefore, it will then be treated as a charge, and three possibilities: insufficient profits, pay interest. Remaining profits go to the partners. Insufficient profits, pay interest. Whatever the loss goes to the partners in their profit sharing ratio. If there are no profits, there is loss. There is a loss. Then interest is to be paid. The loss will go up by the interest amount, 9,000, and this 9,000 will come in the profit and loss appropriation account, and this will be distributed to the partners. This is the treatment of interest on capital, my dear students, and this is most important for you to learn. One thing, then we have, second is, after interest on capital, there is the treatment of interest on drawings. Interest on drawings is a gain to the business. It is a gain to the business because business now tells the partners, you are withdrawing money from the business. When you gave money to the business, your capital, you've asked for interest from me. Now I am giving it to you as your drawings. Please pay interest to me. So if it is mentioned in the agreement that each partner will have to pay interest on the drawings made by him during the year, then this interest on drawings is a loss to the partner. Partner will be debited and P&L appropriation account will be credited. This is a gain to the firm. Now, this again, if nothing is given, it will be treated as an appropriation, and generally, for you in 12th class, you treat it as an appropriation, and you take it only to appropriation account, and then distribute the profits after that. How it is to be done? First is calculation of interest on drawing. Whatever the amount is drawn by the partners, interest will be calculated just on the basis of simple interest formula, P into R into T upon 100. Simple interest is equal to principal into rate into time upon 100. Now time, if it is in months, it will be divided by 12. If it is in years, fine. When we say time, it is in years. So partners, let us say partners withdraw, all partners, their drawings are 5,000 rupees. 5,000 rupees, and the amount is drawn on, let's say, March 31. Second drawing is June 30. Again 5,000 each partner. Then it is September 30. Again 5,000. And lastly it is December 31. December 31, you see, then it is 5,000. And if interest to be calculated on this date, suppose interest to be calculated on the 31st December. Interest to be calculated on December 31. Mind it, I am giving the date. So up to this date, you have to count the period. From 31st March to 31st December. These are 9 months. From 30th June to 31st December. These are 6 months. From 30th September to 31st December. These are 3 months. And amount withdrawn on 31st, 0. 0 months. If the date is not 31st December, if the date is 31st of March next year, if it is March next year, then from 31st to March, this will become different. This will be 12, this will be 9, this will be 6, this will be 3, and March will be 0. So now I am taking on 31st December and tell you how to calculate. In this case,